This is a very serious video about hair. Hair grows. It's a part of our body, the human body. Men and women are different. And sometimes, at some phases of life, especially puberty, adolescence, the hair starts to appear, and this is the time or transition of changes to the physical appearance. And there are some people who are not so masculine, but they're men, and there's some people that are not so feminine, and they're women. So that you have hybrids or mixture type of things, and you have like the mythical bearded lady, which I guess it is real if you go to the circus. And then you have what might be called effeminate men who can't grow hair. But then you have racial types or ethnic types that just, as a general rule, they don't grow a lot of hair. They have hairless bodies even when they're adult. Now this is usually typical for Native Americans. It's true for some of the races in Asia. For example, probably the majority of Chinese people don't have a lot of hair, either facial hair or bodily hair. So a lot of the stuff that I'm saying to you is common knowledge, so I'm not going to review this. If you're more interested in it, take some time and go out doing people watching. Especially if you live in a city, go to a public place and make observations. You know, not with an attitude that you think you know what's right, or you're the coolest about hairstyles. You know, observation means just look and don't discern, don't judge. There's nothing to judge, just take notes. I'm going to move into now theories that I've come up with about strange trends about hair in society. So these are the trends that I've noticed, and I'm just going to briefly touch on one, which is men's facial hair. The beard is coming back in a way as kind of a men's macho statement, like you see with that baseball team that won the World Series. And after they went through that, they started to shave off their beards because it was just a gimmick that they were doing. They weren't true to the beard. But there are certain states of the United States, the regions, that you'll see a high percentage of beards. The ratio is different. You'll see a smaller ratio in other regions, like the East Coast, or let's say Florida, or maybe Washington State, maybe even Massachusetts, New York probably have a smaller ratio. No, I'm sure they have a smaller ratio than the ones in the West. Let's say Colorado, New Mexico, or probably Montana and Idaho, even though there's not a lot of people there. A higher percentage of beards. So it depends. Beards go along with more rugged territory. It seems to go along with being outside of the cities. However, 100 years ago, this was different. It was in style that all men would have a beard in the United States. Look at all the presidents. But they would have to do work on it. They would have to trim it and style it. Now, I'm right now thinking of making this more clean cut and shaping this or something. Actually, it doesn't need that much shaping. It's just what do they call it, goatee or a Fu Manchu. And I'm just gonna like keep the cheeks. So that's me personally. And you've seen me. You can see the record of 7 or 8 years of videos going through different hairstyles. Now let's talk about women with facial hair. They don't want it. It's seen to be not preferable, unattractive. So they do different ways of removing that hair. But it's not so much about the facial hair, because that's not a huge problem. They would get it, off the lip and stuff. But tell you the truth, some women have like a very fine, like small hairs. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people that have darker colored hair, like their hair color, they're all worried about it because it's like dark and it's very obvious. But if it's tiny little hairs and like they're very small, so you know what? I know a lot of people right now, if you're trolls or immature people, you want to like make these comments. Go ahead, make your comments or get out of here. GTFO. This is a mature conversation. And this is serious. And the thing about hair, before I talk more about women's hair, I'm going to tell you right now that society has a mental disease. Like, you're mentally ill. And I'm the doctor diagnosing this. Because I'm wise in my years. I'm wise in my observations. You are sick because you think there is something wrong with hair if hair is not controlled, eradicated, decimated. Because you equate hair with dirtiness, filth, nasty, decrepit, uncivilized. You equate it with germs. If a hair is in your soup at the restaurant, you gotta get a new one. You can't just pick the hair out. Well, that's obvious because it's somebody else's hair. But there's an over-exaggeration as far as what the hair carries. Now, it's true that if you do a drug test, all the things that you've ingested, especially if it's marijuana or even psychedelic mushrooms, that will appear in the hair with the laboratory analysis. So what does that mean about hair? Is that also true for the nails? For nails? To some extent it is. Because anything that grows out of us will contain all the things that we've had in our bloodstream. And it builds it. Like hair is always growing. If you didn't know, after the physical body dies, hair is still growing. I don't know if that's true for animals. It's probably not, because animals don't have hair per se. It's a different type of bodily growth. They call it fur. It's what covers their bodies, but it's not like human hair. Now, see, here the thing is, I'm going to give you a different perspective on everything like I usually do, because I'm the way of the future. I'm the prophet. And the thing is, hair should be taken as sacred. Alright? I'm going to tell you what I do with my hair, and I've never really had a video to talk about this before. I keep my hair because it's going to be made into things. You can actually weave fabric out of hair. It is the most beautiful, sacred, and unique fabric material that you'll ever find. It's way better than silk. It's even better than wool. And it's very personal. So if you wanted to give something to your descendants, and you want it to pass through your family for generations and generations, because it's never going to decay, Give them something with your hair. Oh, there's an idea. Now, how are you going to do that if you keep chopping your hair and letting it drop on the floor and sweeping it up and throwing it away into the landfill? You're never going to have it. Never. So you need to let the hair grow out. When it falls, hopefully naturally, if you're healthy, you collect it up, and slowly you'll get an amount that can be used for making something. What can you make with it? I don't know. That's not what this video is about. You got to get creative. Okay, now having said that, that's the one that probably blows you away the most. But here's another one. We're going to talk about more women's hair right now. We're going to talk about the female hair. We're going to talk about the intimate, private hair, otherwise known as pubic. I'm probably going to end the video on this because this is the biggest. This is the biggest shocker for me when I look at the culture and how ridiculously mentally ill you all are. And I'm talking to the women now. I'm talking about especially to the young women. And if you're not a young woman, but you know some, or you have neighbors, or you have friends, or you have relatives, go and tell them. Have a mature conversation and ask, why do you shave everything away? Why do you want to be bald down there? Is it something that makes you feel better? Do you think that you're ugly if you have something down there? What is wrong with you people? See, when I was growing up, we were actually more normal. We thought of it as a sign of sexual maturity, of something attractive. When you first were seeing that, when you were growing up, and you saw the hair there, you said, wow, that's what we're going to have. Wow, that's a sign. That's style. You have it there, you have it nicely kempt, and it's not like, all over the place, like decrepit, but it's nicely groomed. It might be trimmed a little bit, but there's definitely a lot there. It's called a bush, like that president, like that crude joke. It's a nation of bushes. Now, in our day and age of now 2014, this has been going on for a lot of years. We don't have no bush. We have shaven. We have bald. It's like going around if you're dating and sleeping around, which I don't recommend. But you're in a culture of bald chihuahuas, and that's what you like. That's what you're getting. I think I need to diagnose you as psychiatric cases. My recommendation is this to the women. Let it grow in and be proud of it. And when some of it comes out, you find it in your panties, or you find it in the bed when you wake up, collect that up. Keep it in a little box, like a jewelry box, or keep it in a little bag. That's sacred. I mean, if you have to, wash it, do a little soapy water or something, and then let it dry and then keep it. It's not dirty. It's sacred. It's unique. It's natural, human. Natural humanity. Now, this is where I think it comes from. Here's my theory. There is a prevalence right now, or an increase of men's baldness. And you see me, that I've kept this here, and I'm about 50. And I'm beating the trend. I'm beating the odds. Hopefully, if I continue to take care of it, and my nutrition is good, and I do a lot of exercise, then it would continue to grow. But, however, when men reach 30 or 40, they're usually starting to lose hair, and they're going either completely bald, or in some areas, it's bald. So I think this is being projected onto the women. You know what? I don't want to hear that, and nobody wants to hear that right now. So I'm done with the video. You hear what I say? It's a projection. Like, I'm trying to explain this, that maybe women are feeling sorry, but at the same time, maybe men are taking it out on women, and they got the trend started. Like, you've got to get rid of that, you know. But look, nobody wants to go bald. But when you're bald, you come to accept it. And the rest of the people around you, if we're mature and polite, we accept that. You know, it's a thing about human aging. And we don't have perfect condition. We don't have perfect health. So that's one indicator of it. That's one sign. You're losing your youth, and there's a part of your vitality that is going away when you have your hair loss. This also goes with muscle tone. This also goes with skin quality, wrinkles. You know, when wrinkles come in, that means you're not able to smooth your skin or fill it out or keep it supple and smooth. You know, these are indicators of poor health and aging. Is it inevitable? No, but we need to create an entire science and movement around this. So what I'm saying is one of the steps is that we need to get a better acceptance and appreciation of hair. So, young women out there, let your bushes grow in. Make it nice and attractive to your man. Men, oh my God, I hear men are waxing now and doing all this crazy stuff. Don't be weird and strange. Just let it grow in normal. I haven't touched on underarm hair, but look, I can't do everything. This video's long enough. Thanks for watching, everybody.